What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we have a lot of big stuff to take on, including the final two bosses of this DLC. Before we get to that, we're going to make a quick pit stop to the Darkeater bonfire because there's that NPC that we talked to right at the very beginning of this DLC. There's actually some more dialogue available. So last time we saw that there was a statue of Gwen placing the crown on top of a pygmy, and that is to kind of symbolize that the Ring City was bequeathed to the pygmies for them to rule over. And that was done by Gwen, kind of as, well, sort of a reward, but we'll find out more about that as we talk here.
You are. What on earth do you...
So now we can inquire of the Ring City, so we'll do that.
Why, where did you hear that name, love? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you what I know. The Ring City is said to be at world's end. Past this heap of rubbish as far as one can go. But you'd better think twice. The forsaken Ringed City was walled off by the gods to contain the pygmies. And the dark soul is better left well alone.
All right, so we found out that the Ring City was actually walled off to contain the pygmies. So what seemed to be a charitable gesture on its face, actually there was an ulterior motive behind it, because he wanted to contain the pygmies and thus the dark soul. So we'll dive more into that as we keep going here. So let's see, we're going to travel over to the ringed inner wall. We did get a shortcut elevator that's going to take us to the next boss. All right, so the first of these bosses that we're going to take on is Midir. And to get to Midir, we need to drop off the elevator as we did last time. Last time we then dropped down to get the Calorinthy Ring +3, but now we got to do the other direction to fight Midir. So going back to that whole thing about Gwen giving them the ring, giving the pygmies the Ring City, but really it was meant to kind of trap them. And by the way, right here we get a ember, and there is an invisible wall right here. Remember that pygmy we talked to at the very beginning of the Ring City? He referred to this place as a dung heap. So eventually I think they became wise to what Gwen was actually doing and the fact that they can't get out of here, and came to not so much appreciate this place. And then he also mentioned Filianore and her slumber being an illusion. So we have not yet met Filianore, but we'll get to that in a bit. So we got another ornament over there. We're going to go down the ladder. And right here we have the antiquated plain garb and violet wrappings. And if you want to, here you can summon Shira, Knight of Filianore. If you've been following Shira's quest, you can do the summon. The reason why I said not to go past the bonfire after the end of the previous boss battle is because if you go too much further, you're actually going to break Shira's quest line, and she will not be available for summon, and you might miss out on some of her goodies later as well. So we're going to drop down here, and this is going to take us to the boss battle. Now note what's been happening. The theme of this DLC is you start at the top, you drop, you drop, you drop, you drop, and every time you drop, you go further back in time. Well, we started in Lothric, we then went to Earthen Peak, and then we went to the DS1, Dark Souls 1 Firelink Shrine, and now we dropped even further below the Ring City. And if those of you who are astute Dark Souls 1 players, you might recognize this. This is very reminiscent of the opening cutscene in Dark Souls 1 where it shows the furtive pygmy discovering the Dark Soul. And so is this the same place? Who knows? But it definitely resembles that place, and it also is commensurate with us actually reaching the bottom all the way down. We dropped all the way down, and here we are. So this is Midir in front of us, and we're gonna have ourselves a lot of fun. Now, conventional wisdom would say, most people would say actually, stay towards the head and hit the head, because you do, I whiffed a bunch of times there, you do more damage if you hit the head as opposed to the feet. The problem is if you target the head, you are pretty much always in harm's way. So I actually prefer to stay more at his feet and tail, and then get headshots every once in a while when I can. Like right here, I might try to get a pop on the head, and then I'm going to go straight underneath. And that's why, because most of his attacks go to the front. And so you see we have this flame attack. He has a lot of claw swipes that he does primarily with his front claws. So I'm gonna stay towards his rear legs, And even though I'm doing less damage than hitting his head, it's more consistent and I'm more likely to avoid some of his more powerful attacks while, and I'm saying all this, I'm taking attacks, unfortunately, but that smash attack, I dodge. And now when he gets on his hind legs like this and blows fire, he's going to blow right underneath him, but that'll give you a chance to hit his tail if you don't whiff. He's going to tail swipe most likely. Nope, not there. Sometimes he does tail swipe, but in any case, he does leave an opportunity to hit his head once or twice after that fire attack. There it is again. So run towards tail when he does that fire attack beneath him. There I got 2 shots on the tail. Let's see if he does a tail swipe there. Dodge the tail swipe, and you can run forward, get 1 hit on his head maybe, but not in that case. He's going to do, let's see, a lunge forward there. And you notice that, oh, I got hit by his tail swipe again. You notice when he opened up with a big combo where he blew fire and like lunged forward and stuff. He does do that combo from time to time also, just throughout the course of the fight. And he does have a second phase as well. His second phase happens when he gets right about to half health. Speaking of his health, that is the main challenge of this boss fight, is just the sheer amount of health this boss has. And I keep getting hit by that tail swipe, and it's killing me. So the sheer amount of health that this boss has is actually the challenge, because it just this fight is so long. It really is a battle of attrition, and if you're not careful, he's gonna take you out. It's very easy just to even if you're good at the fight, it's very easy just to run out of flasks if you're not quick enough. So there he's doing his fire breath attack, run back towards his tail. I got hit by it that time, unfortunately. I wasn't fast enough. And healing, he's turning around. I can get a smack in his face. Nope, he backed away, but dodge forward through his swipe attack. And he's doing that fire breath attack again. So it's kind of like a rinse and repeat sort of thing. Hit his tail. See if he does a tail swipe here. Not a tail swipe. He's doing more fire breath again. But I missed that shot on his tail. That's fine. Turn around on his head, get a hit on his head. And then get underneath him again, because again, he's hitting with those front claws. Get underneath him at his feet. You can much less risky to do damage there. As I take another tail swipe. Man, he's been killing me with those tail swipes. So this is the start of a second phase. This is a big AoE. He can do this AoE more than once, but he opens the second phase with that AoE. So that's a new move that he has access to. When he does his fire breath in the air, you want to run to the left underneath that crease. That is very reminiscent of the fire attack that the Elden Ring dragons do. So you played Elden Ring, you should know that attack by now, and I'm hit by yet another tail swipe. I can't freaking believe it. Oh my gosh. That has been my kryptonite so far in this fight. Now he's doing his fire attack on his hind legs, run underneath, and whiff on the tail, unfortunately, twice. He's doing a easy turnaround, and I whiffed on the head. I'm whiffing on way too many attacks here. All right, doing the fire breath again, run forward, and I got hit by it because I wasn't sprinting, unfortunately. So I'm going to take this opportunity to heal, and then this time dodge the tail swipe, and whiff again on the head. Unfortunately, I'm not being super precise here. Unfortunately, I am making a lot of unforced errors, probably because I'm yapping so much. He does have another attack in a second phase where he will summon pursuers, and if they will, they're heat-seeking. He's doing his dark AoE here. Those pursuers are heat-seeking, and they will do a lot of damage. You just want to basically sprint away from it when he's doing that attack. And yeah, I keep whiffing, and we'll see if I can still be successful here. All right, so he's doing, let's see, he's going to breathe in front of him. If you are in, this is the pursuer's attack. And so just roll away from that. If he breathes fire in front of him, this is his combo attack. In a second phase, he does it twice in a row usually. But as long as you can get to kind of to the side of him, you should be okay. You see he's doing it twice in a row. Second phase, he does it twice in a row. As long as you're kind of away from him, it won't hit you. You want to, another reason why I don't like being in front of him with his head all the time, trying to hit his head, is because he can do a forward fire breath attack. This is the dark AoE. If he does that attack and you're in front of him, he will follow it up with a laser attack, and that laser attack can just about one-shot you if you're in front of him. So that's another reason not to be in front of him as much as you can control it. So again, I'm getting underneath him. See what he's doing here. This might be his pursuer's attack. Nope, it's his tail up again. Good lord. All right. There's his pursuer's attack. So run away from that. He can cast that twice in a row. I've seen him do that before too. And I mentioned a war of attrition. I'm just soaking, or I'm drinking these flasks here. I'm just drinking these flasks and it's gonna come back to bite me with as much as I'm whiffing on my attacks and as much as he's landing his attacks. See Fire Breath run to the right, underneath that crease there. Or run to the left, rather. Not to the right, run to the left for that. And again, I don't want to be in front of him for his Fire Breath. I don't want to even give him the opportunity to do that. So this is his combo that he's doing. He's, again, his second phase. He's probably going to do it twice in a row. There he goes again. Just kind of get to the side. Got a couple hits in there. See if I can get a headshot here. All right, did get a headshot and dodged his forward claw swipe. He's doing his hind leg Fire Breath, so get to the tail. Got 2 shots. See if he does a tail swipe here. He is. Dodge the tail swipe. See if I can get a headshot. Nope. Yes, I did get it, but he's doing his Dark AoE. Run away from that. That is big time damage. See if I can get another headshot when he puts his head down. Beautiful. All right, get underneath him. He's doing his... I'm probably not going to get away from this. Nope, he got me because I was too far in front of him when I started running behind him. Tail swipe. See if I get a headshot. Nope. But dodge that forward swipe. He's doing his hind leg attack again. So you see there is kind of a rhythm to this attack. Or there is a rhythm to this fight. And you also notice I am doing the vast majority of this unlocked. This could be his forward Fire Breath. Nope, it's his pursuers. Okay, if it was forward Fire Breath, I would be watching out for that laser attack that I've purposefully been trying to avoid altogether in this fight by just not being in front of him. All right, let's see, a couple more hits and he's gonna be gone. One more hit. Run to the left. Fire Breath. Aerial Fire Breath, I should say. One more hit and he is gonna be gone. All right, there we go. That is Darkeater Midir. A very tough fight. Not easily won. And so, yes, I think last time I was talking about the Spears of the Church, and I was looking for that Covenant item. I didn't have it yet. This is where you get the Covenant item for the Spears of the Church. Green rusted ornament for the green rusted ornament of young grass, the crest of Princess Filianore, equipped to join the Spears of the Church Covenant. Spears of the Church watch over the Princess Slumber, and when the Church is compromised by a trespasser, the Adjudicator summons him as loyal spirits to eliminate the threat. So this is how, if you wanted to basically be the boss, before people can get to Filianore, this is how you would do it. And he also dropped his soul as well. We got the soul of Darkeater Midir. So yeah, very cool fight, very difficult fight. This is often referred to as one of the most difficult fights in the game, if not all of Souls. One thing I want to point out is that if you're really struggling, there's kind of a way you can cheese him. And the way that you do that is with, let's see, where's the spell? Pestilent Mist. You need 30 intelligence to equip it. So if you've been following along with my build, more than likely, if you want to try this, you're going to have to respec. But what this does is it is percentage HP based. And so the amount of damage that Pestilent Mist does is based on the enemy that you're using against. It's based on their maximum HP. So in other words, the higher their max HP, the more damage this spell is going to do. So this spell, if you can cast it, it's going to do a pretty significant chunk of damage because Midir has such a huge HP pool. So the thing is you're going to want to use this when Midir is kind of in a standing still spot. Because if he's moving around, he's just going to move away from it. So there are spots, where I got under him and he's sort of just breathing fire or doing whatever, not moving around so much. That's your opportunity to cast Pestilent Mist. He'll just stay there in that cloud and he'll take a pretty massive HP drain as a result. And you'll probably end up killing him much faster than you will with melee attacks. So if you're really struggling with him, you might want to try Pestilent Mist. It is a viable strategy for this fight. And it does work so well because he has so much HP. All right, so we're going to travel back to Firelink. We have this Soul of Midir. Descendant of the Archdragons, was raised by the gods and owing to his immortality was given a duty to eternally battle the dark, a duty that he would never forget even after the gods perished. And as we learned from Shira, that the dark eventually consumed him as well. So just like all other boss souls, we can transpose this. And from it, we can get the Old Moonlight, which is basically a magic greatsword that gets summoned. And then we can also get the frayed blade, which is a katana. So this is not required for the trophy or anything like that, since it is from the DLC. But in the spirit of picking up all the spells that we've been getting so far from these boss souls, I'm going to go ahead and get this. And I'm actually going to save the remainder of these souls. You can use them to level up, but the reason why I'm going to save these souls is because I want to get all of the endings on this playthrough, and to do that, I'm going to have to create a backup save and reload that save. I'm going to be doing that in the next episode, but in order to do that, in order to trigger all of the endings, you see, I need one of the endings. I'm going to need to heal the Dark Sigil. I don't want to do that yet, but you see, I'm going to need 625,000 souls to do that. So these next couple bosses, I'm actually going to hang on to their souls because it'll help me get to that 625,000 number, which I'm going to be using in the next episode to unlock one of the endings, which one of those endings, again, is going to require us to heal the Dark Sigil. And the reason why that's so expensive is because the cost to heal your Dark Sigil is the cost of whatever your next 5 levels are. All right, so since we beat Midir, we can now progress Shira's quest. So to do that, we're going to go to the Ringed Inner Wall. And we're going to go back to kind of that main street where there are a ton of enemies, unfortunately, but that is where you go to progress Shira's quest. We're just going to make a run. We're not going to fight anything. We're going to run past literally everything. It is a little bit of a trek, and it is a bit tricky because just there is a high density of enemies on this path, but it's very doable. Past this ring knight here. That was a little bit sketchy. So if you recall, we have a spear ring knight on the ground here. This is one of the most dangerous enemies on this path. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop off the stairs here, kind of take this wide way around because the ring knight's over there. Then you want to make haste because you have these heralds that are going to be coming up the stairs. And we need to talk at this door like we did last time.
My most humble thanks.
I'm going to look behind me just to see if there's anyone coming up behind me.
Please, take this. A final gift of...
So we get a Titanite slab. She wanted us to kill Midir, which is what we did.
Hasten on thy journey, but wake not the slumbering prince, as the fire waneth does she lie by the dark.
Okay, so she doesn't want us to wake the princess. Remember, the pygmy at the beginning of the DLC that we talked to wanted us to wake the princess. So there are differing opinions here of what we ought to do. Okay, so we got the Titanite slab. We are going to now warp to the Church of Filianore. This is the bonfire that we unlocked just past the boss. All right, so here we are. This is the bonfire past the last boss. We got to go up this elevator. And this will take us to Filianore. She is a daughter of Gwen, going back to the royal family. You see, she is asleep, much like the pygmy at the beginning of the DLC stated. And Shira does not want us to wake her up, but the pygmy seems to want us to wake her up. We have only one choice. We can touch the embraced shell, and if we want to progress, that is what we have to do. Much to the dismay of people like Shira and the Judicators, all of them. We touch the egg, and it just shatters. So as a result, she wakes up. All right, so since she woke up, so she was holding back time and keeping it from passing by her slumber. So since she woke up, a huge amount of time has now passed, as evidenced by the fact that she is long dead. And this whole place is now just a heap of ash. So she was actually holding back time kind of as a way to lock the pygmies into this fate that Gwyn had constructed for them. But now that time has passed, things look a lot different. We see we have a pygmy crawling around here.
Filianore, help me. The Red Hood is come to eat us, to eat our dark soul.
He mentions the Red Hood coming to eat them, to eat their dark souls. We know the Red Hood. The red hooded figure, that would be our friend Gael, who has been guiding us in this DLC, who sucked us into the painting for the first DLC. You go all the way down there, you're going to trigger the fight with him. But first, we have some business to do. We got a Ring Knight, Duel Greatsword Ring Knight over here. We go ahead and buff up before we fight him. Just as with the other one, he is very tough. I went for the third hit. I probably shouldn't have went for that third hit. And again, I tried to go for the third hit, but I was out of stamina, and that actually played to my advantage. Yeah, 2 hits is what you should stick with generally. First hit gets you the stagger, second hit you roll back from. All right, so for the first time you kill this thing, you get a Titanite slab. We also got a chunk and an ember from him. Our job is not done yet. Remember, Shira did not want us to mess with Filianore. So I will say, the boss fight triggers when you go all the way down there through that arch. If you die during your first encounter, the boss fight will, in subsequent attempts, will start all the way out here. But to trigger it initially, you have to walk all the way down there. Just wanted to point out that you will notice that difference on subsequent attempts. So all the way over here, I rebuffed way too early. All the way over here and through here. Shira is mad at us, and she's going to come fight us. She is very difficult. She can use that lightning arrow miracle that we picked up. She has 4 or 5 flasks, something ridiculous. She does micro stagger pretty easily though, but she also rolls away a lot. There's her lightning arrow.
And trusted friend to Midir.
She hits really hard.
At once, I am the
You can get her
honor
before
of
she
the
heals.
gods,
You'll be
the
in
glory
good
of
shape,
fire
but
and
she
the
also hits
fear
really
of the
hard.
dark. Thou shalt not go unpunished for thy treachery, thy profanity, and
So if you
thy
can corner her,
shameless
that's going to be to your
yearning.
advantage. Because you can't heal. Or you can whiff and let her heal anyways. She also has kind of an AoE blast that she can do from her weapon right there. That was it. And she had some poise there with that jump attack. I'm surprised. Oh, I was about to say I'm surprised that she's not healing. And I accidentally triple chugged when I should have just double chugged. Oh well. Again, and just keep the pressure on. She'll drink up all of her flasks and eventually she won't be able to heal anymore. See, she's out now. But I was out of stamina. Dang it. Try to use that AoE again. Whoop. I'm getting kind of sloppy here myself. And one more hit. Whiff, 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 whiff. And she's dead. She's one of the tougher NPCs to fight. And as our reward, we get the Crucifix of the Mad King. That is the weapon that she was using. So one more task before we fight that last boss here. We're back to the bonfire. And now that we've killed her, we can once again go back to her spot and get her armor. We're going to go all the way back to the ringed inner wall. So while we're running back, we can talk a little bit about Gael. So if you remember the painter in Ariandel, she's painting a new painting. We burned the old one. She's painting a new one for people to inhabit. And she called him Uncle Gael. Wanted her to paint a new painting. And something was mentioned about needing a new pigment. Oh crap, I just got grabbed. Needing a new pigment from the Dark Soul. So that's what Gael's trying to accomplish. He's trying to acquire essentially the Dark Soul so he can turn it into a pigment that can be used for this new painting. And with this new painting, allegedly with the pigment, it should last longer. The painting should last longer instead of rotting like the paintings so often do. Since we know that the pygmies had possession of the Dark Soul, the essence of the Dark Soul is within their blood, and that's why Gael is eating them. You saw that one crawling away, trying to escape. Gael is eating them to gain that essence of the Dark Soul for himself. So here you have Shira's crown and her whole armor set. You can acquire that. This is the room that she was staying in. This was all locked before. And now we can work back. All right, so now that we're back here, it is time for us to warp to Filianore's bonfire. And time to take on the boss. Now, this boss is, again, one of the harder bosses in the game. And this, I've said before, is in line with From Software DLCs. For whatever reason, they like to make the bosses harder in the DLCs in the base game. There is a bit of a difficulty jump from base game to DLC, and that rings true in this game as well. So you have our pygmy begging for his life. And so we're about to fight Gael, see what's happened to him.
The Red Hood is to eat our dark.
So first phase, he has a lot of combo attacks. He uses a great sword. One thing you want to watch out for is he will leap into the air and kind of stab the ground straight down. You want to dodge that. That does, I will have, believe, a little bit of an AoE attached to it, so you want to get away from that. There's also another big combo that he'll do, and then he will end that combo with his jump in the air and stab into the ground. At one point, he will transform to his next phase. In his subsequent phases, he has an AoE where he will basically, there'll be like kind of an aura surrounding him. You want to roll away from him for that because he's going to explode with like a bunch of red skulls that come out from him, and they're kind of heat seeking. They're gonna chase after you for just a slight bit there, but you want to get away from that AoE. And if you hit him a few times, he will kind of stagger briefly. I use that as an opportunity to do one hit. The reason why I'm using this weapon in particular is because it is a little bit faster than other kind of ultra great sword type weapons. And so this weapon will allow you to get maybe one extra hit in as opposed to just being able to hit him once and then having to run away. Otherwise, you're going to get hit. I'll show you what I mean kind of as we get into the fight a bit. But especially if you get a stagger, you want to take advantage of that with one hit. But you don't want to over pursue. You don't want to spam your hits because he will punish you because you won't be able to roll away in enough time for his attack.
What? Still here? Hand it over, that thing, your dark soul.
So you see he's clearly in pursuit of the Dark Soul, and he has also clearly lost his mind. He wants it for the painting, as we were just talking about. Very reminiscent of Artorias' cutscene right there. All right, so I'm going to go over here where it's more flat ground. Get away from these thrones. They can get in the way of dodging. So let's see what he does here. All right, little combo there. And there's this ground stab that I was warning you about. And of course I get hit smack dab in the middle by it. And you see how much damage that does. So one hit is all I want to do there. And I need to get my wits about me here. And he punched my heal there. That's fine. All right, I need to... if he hits you with that, that's a grab attack actually. That thrust he does is a big grab. So I'm gonna hit him here, and you see how he staggered there after a few hits. And I said take one hit after that, and I took two, and that's what happens. I got punished for that. So there's this combo that he finishes with his stab. And got behind him on that one. 2 hits will do. Back away. All right. I staggered him, so I'm going to get 1 extra hit there. That's his thrust. You want to dodge that. It'll be a grab if it hits you. Pretty high damage. I got a stagger there. Hit him once for the stagger, then back away. He'll be transforming pretty soon here. All right. 1 hit, back away. This is his combo. He's going to end it with his vertical thrust. And I got hit by it, unfortunately. But I did punish him for it to get him into his next phase. So he does move quite a bit faster in his second phase. Sad to say. This fight does get harder as it progresses.
Is this the blood? The blood of the dark soul.
So he's going to get some new moves. He's going to be quite a bit more aggressive. And one of those new moves, as I mentioned before, is this AoE that he does. See what he does. And he can also do damage with his cape as well if you're not careful. And he has this crossbow. I got stabbed there. So yeah, his cape can do damage to you. And I probably should only take him 1 hit there. I got a stagger, so I'm going to roll away and heal, but I didn't get away in time. All right. Going with his crossbow. You see he stabs with his sword, but then the cape comes around and does extra damage. I need to get away and heal again because that cape is a problem for me right now. So he does this, the discus attack there. And the discus do come back to make sure you're out of the way there for that return. Oh, I tried to dodge. I was a little bit late there. I'm getting real careless here. I'm gonna have to roll away to heal. All right, this is his third phase. The third phase is when the AoEs come out. You see there, he did the AoE, then the skulls come out. Big arena clearing attacks. He's extremely aggressive. There you go. Big combos. Running out of flasks, unfortunately. And still taking big hits. Need to be a bit more careful if I'm going to want to win here. Yep, and I'm, of course, not being more careful. All right, he's doing his AoE here. Back away. Be a miracle if I pull this off. Trying to get a stagger. Got it. Back away. Got hit by the cape there. That's unfortunate. Got a stagger, hit, get away, do an AoE. I'm going to use this. I'm going to do a Divine Blessing. Last heal. This is my last ditch effort. Hopefully get a stagger here. Got it. And the win. Oh gosh, that was a good recovery. That was looking bleak there for a while after that phase transform. I was taking every hit under the sun, and then I don't know how we bounced back from that, but whew, I will take the win. I will take the win. Got the soul of Slave Knight Gael and the blood of the Dark Soul. All right, so let's take a look at that. Soul of Slave Knight Gael. The red-hooded wandering Slave Knight Gael sought the blood of the Dark Soul as pigment for the painted world. We talked about that just a bit before. But Gael knew he was no champion, that the Dark Soul would likely ruin him, and that he had little hope of a safe return. So as we saw the result of that, he was not able to handle it. It did ruin him. He was pretty much a shell of his former self. But he was relentlessly trying to consume that Dark Soul because he wanted that pigment for his painted world. So now we also have the blood of the Dark Soul that seeped from the hole within Slave Knight Gael, used as pigment by his lady in Ariandel to depict a painted world. When Gael came upon the Pygmy Lords, he discovered that their blood had long ago dried and so consumed the Dark Soul. Of course, that's the origin of this whole story. Way back in Dark Souls 1, we learned about the furtive Pygmy who discovered the Dark Soul, and then thus, began the series. So what we can do is light this bonfire. I did mention before, I'm saving these souls because I need like 600,000 to heal the Dark Sigil. And so this is a good start for that. So we're going to travel back to Firelink here. Still in shock that I actually bounced back during that fight. I mean, it was looking ugly there for a while. But a win is a win. I'll take it. So from Gael's soul, we can get his greatsword and his crossbow. I don't want either of those. I'm not interested in either of the weapons, so I'm going to consume his soul. If it gave me a ring or a spell, I'd probably get it for that, but since I don't get a ring or a spell, and I don't want either of the weapons, I'm just going to eat it. For a meager 20,000 souls. All right, so now that we did get that pigment, that is important. So we are going to travel back to Ariandel, go back to the chapel where the painter was upstairs. And we can give it to her, just as Gael would have wanted. Give the blood of the Dark Soul.
My thanks, Ashen One. With this will I paint a world. Please tell me thy name. I would name this painting after thee. My thanks. I will paint a world of that name. 'Twill be a cold, dark, and very gentle place, and one day it will make someone a goodly home. I wonder when Uncle Gael intends his return. I hope the new painting will be to him a gentle home.
Well, unfortunately, I got some bad news about Uncle Gael.
Ashen One, I will assuredly finish the painting of a cold wonder.
All right. So a happy ending, I'm sure. Okay. So that is the end of the Ringed City DLC and consequently the end of Dark Souls 3 DLCs. And pretty much we're at the end of Dark Souls 3. So the next episode, we're going to be fighting the final boss and we're going to cover each of the endings. There are actually 4 endings. 3 of them will trigger a trophy for you, but we will cover all 4 as we get there. So stay tuned for next time as we wrap up this journey. But even though it's the end of our journey through Dark Souls 3, if you're going for the platinum, there is still quite a bit more yet to come. So stay tuned for all of that, and we'll see you next time.